Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and anybody out there on Facebook or YouTube that's just killing time and maybe trying to stay out of the heat so we don't get sunstroke. And it's been pretty warm the last few days in Nelson. And as a senior, I wanted to just bring this topic forward, and it can be aimed at people who are aging, and also if you've got an aging parent, whether it be a mother or a grandfather or a father. I think this topic doesn't get talked about enough, so I'd like to just throw it out there for discussion, not because I have the answers. Nobody has all the answers, and it's a very critical, sensitive topic. So I'm going to talk about it. It's to do with end of life. Now, the M.A.I.D program now is legal across Canada, and there are forms that are set out for our use, and you can download the forms off Google. You can go on Google and type in download Right to Die with Dignity forms BC or Alberta, whichever province you're in, and you can download that form and read it over and acquaint yourself with the new system. Now, what this does, it allows people, seniors, to sit there and give some thought to about how they want to exit the life. That means the end of life, when we're going to pass on to, we don't know where we're going for sure, but from living on a farm, I've seen animals die, and everything turns into fertilizer afterwards, whether we're buried in the ground or whatever, but our body deteriorates and we become fertilizer. And that's the way it is. There's no changing that. And now with the law now, it makes it legal for us to turn around and say to our children, or anybody in our family or our caregiver, when I get to the point where I can't function properly anymore, and you can spell that out, and let's say, well, how do you want to? What's the maximum amount of torture you want to experience from the dying process? I mean, you're the person that's going to person that's going to receive the torture, and I mean, the most comfortable thing that could happen to us, I guess, when you're talking about the passing of human life, is to just not wake up one morning, where you die in your sleep and you have a really nice sleep and you just don't wake up. It's a very comfortable sleep, but it's a long one because you don't wake up anymore. Now, if we're lucky enough to experience that naturally, I consider that to be luck for us, especially when we're older. Now, if you haven't been through a care home recently or a hospital where they treat old people, or if you've got some family or friends that are living there, it's worth your time to make a tour through and visit some people and see people who are in a different state. Now, it can be a state of inability to walk, inability to talk, inability to go to the bathroom properly. And your body can deteriorate into various stages. Now, remember, if you're laying in bed and you can't control stuff anymore, you're like you become a baby state. So you wind up wetting your diapers and making a real mess of yourself, and expect somebody to clean that up. And it was kind of a tough enough time when you were watching your babies doing that, And they were having a ball. They were smiling and laughing, and they'd be dirtying their pants and all kinds of stuff and laughing. Well, it's not going to be quite that much fun for us as we age. But so think about this. The M.A.I.D program is to let you choose. Now, in letting you choose, you get into all kinds of discussion where people are religious and they say, "Oh, you're not allowed to do that." But think about this, chronologically and scientifically. If we're going to pass away, and we're 85 and 90 years old, we know darn well we're not going to live to 100. A bit the odd person make 100, but and usually we're losing people now in the mid 50s and 60 years of age, where they got cancer or heart problems and stuff like that. So it's not a matter of if it's going to happen; it's a matter of when. So the M.A.I.D program, a lot of people are throwing rocks on it because of the religious thing, and they think that no, God put you on earth, so He's got to take you off. But don't forget, you've got to go through the indignity. If you don't call it ahead of time, what I'm saying is, prepare yourself. Now, in the M.A.I.D program, my M.A.I.D program is set up now, and you have to fill the form out, and you take it to your doctor, and they check you out, and they fill the form out. Pardon me. Then the form goes over to Kelowna, and it's registered in the system. Excuse me. It's registered in this program with the IHA, and then they're assigned a second doctor. Now, a second doctor, you have to go in for a little medical, and they check you over, and they take a look at the first comments that the first doctor has made about your condition and your wishes. And the second doctor, he checks it all over, and the second doctor, he said, "You're too good a shape yet." I said, "Yes, I know, but I've seen too many people where they go to the hospital and they haven't got to the point where they've written their wishes down. So what happens, they get into an attack where they have Alzheimer's, and then the person wants to die. Well, unless it's been written down when your brain is in good condition, the doctors won't respond to it. So that means you're going to lay there in a state of decay, maybe laying in bed, staring at the ceiling. You don't know your own name, and you're dirtying your pajamas and all kinds of stuff, like a baby state again. Now, on my particular ones, I'm not saying that what I'm doing is right, and you have the right to argue one way or the other. That's your choice. But what I'm saying to you, in my particular case, I've written a letter over the top, and I've also told my family and told the doctors, if I'm in a situation where I can't, well, I've got an incurable disease. This could be cancer or any disease that's incurable, and it's starting to affect me. So if I can't talk properly anymore, and I can't walk, and my brain's not working, and I don't know people when they come to see me, how embarrassing it's going to be for me if somebody in my family walks in to talk to me, and I don't know who they are. And don't forget, if you don't fill the forms out, you're causing your family to die, to watch you every day die one more day, one more day, one more day, and it's a torturous road to death. Now, my feeling is that if you're able to walk and talk and, you can have fun and laugh and talk about the old days, fine. But if you're at the point where you're laying in bed and you can't get around, and you've got an incurable disease, so the end is near. Now, what I'm saying is, when the end is near, let's talk about how many months. In my wife's case, the doctor came in after she'd been coughing up blood for about 4 years, and we were still doing a little bit of traveling around and stuff, but she was passing out on the floor and puking up blood, and it was bloody awful. Her mind was pretty sharp, though. She could still recognize us as family, and we could talk back and forth. But when the doctor came in the day, she was at the hospital for a day or so, and Dr. Cochran came in, and he said to her and I, he said, "I'm sorry, I can't fix your wife." And he almost had tears in his eyes. Very compassionate doctor, great guy. And he said, "An specialist can't fix her." And he said, "She's too old for a lung transplant." So we knew darn well that he was trying to tell us something there. So I said to him, "Can you tell us how long she's got?" Well, he said, it's somewhere around 3 months. He said it could be 5, but 3. But you can prove me wrong. If she lives longer, I'm wrong. But he was trying to tell us that the end was coming near. So when he said that, she looked at me and she said, "We've been married for 55 years. And she said, if my heart ever stops, if I ever have a stroke or a heart attack and my heart stops, don't start it again. Don't bring me back, because my life now is no good." She was talking about inability to breathe properly. She was on oxygen for 4 years, and coughing up blood. I mean, she was having a hell of a time breathing, and It was a tough time. The last couple of months of her life was very bad. So about a week later, after we talked to Dr. Cochran, we went to the hospital to have a blood test for her. She's sitting in a wheelchair waiting our turn to go in. And her eyes turned really bright blue, like this, bluer than this blue jacket I'm wearing now here. And I said to her, "Are you okay?" Because when her dad died, I seen his eyes turn really blue, brighter than normal. It's like somebody put a flashlight in behind the eyeball and we're brightening up the eyes. She said, "I've got a terrible pain right here." And she pointed to her put her right hand on her chest. And I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "I got this terrible pain." And then she folded over in a wheelchair. Folded over. So I tried to set her up, and she wouldn't set up. She'd been gone, eh? So I rolled her into the emergency ward quickly. And the doctor in charge said that she had a massive stroke and she's dead. So they were trying to put something in her mouth and try and bring oxygen in and bring her back to life again. And I stopped them. I said, no. What do you mean no? I said, no. We've talked about this, and we've talked about it. And she said it's her choice. And she made me promise that I would not let you guys continue doing what you're doing. Even though you're trying to rescue her and bring her back, she has nothing to come back to. Now that's a pretty sad time. But we all have to remember that life must come to an end at some times. And I think we have to talk to our family, and we have to talk to other people too, and get a feeling for that, and ask ourselves, do I really want to lay in the hospital for 6 months, or a year, or 2 years, staring at the ceiling, not knowing what my name is, and I'm only going to live another couple months? Is it worth it? Now with the M.A.I.D program, what they do, somebody in the family has to phone the doctor. Once the forms are all made up, the doctor has a copy of your form, and when you get the copy back from the second doctor, you give a copy to your family members, and you tell people in your life. My choice is, if I'm ever in the hospital with an incurable disease, and I can't walk and talk, and my brain is not functioning properly because I've got Alzheimer's, what kind of a life would that be for me? But you have to remember that if we don't choose that, it's our right. It's called medical assistance in death. But we have to ask for it. Pardon me. We have to make the forms up front and make sure they're finished up and completed for the doctors. And then the responsibility then lies with you and your family. And our family have to be told, look, when you watch me and when you see me deteriorating to the point where I've written down where I don't want to be anymore, you call the doctor, and 2 doctors come on site to see you. And they examine you, and the family would be there, and they say, what's going on? Well, we think that our loved one, or our mama or dad or whoever it is now at the point where they don't want to be, and he or she has expressed the wishes ahead of time, and we know, and we've been entrusted to be on guard to watch for the conditions that he doesn't want. So at that particular time, they talk to the doctor, and a serious discussion is made. Do your family agree? Yes. And if they agree, you're going to have a little party there. You can have some coffee, or you can have a couple of beer, or some wine, a cake, and hug and say goodbye. And make sure that you line it up with the doctor so you know what day it wants to happen. And you create the day it's going to happen. So you can say, well, it's middle of next month or a week from now or whatever, and they have the doctors come and visit you. And one of the doctors is going to be the one that's going to inject you, put a needle in your arm, no different than put you to sleep for surgery. And then you're going to have a permanent sleep. And that is the M.A.I.D program. So it starts with you or me. You gotta look in the mirror. What do you want? Get the forms made up, talk to your family, get the forms all completed by the doctors, copies for the family, and talk it up, make sure everybody knows. and then relax. And remember that we can still, just because the forms are made up, you can change your mind anytime you want. But once the forms are made up, they're filed with IHA, and they're a copy in emergency ward. The doctor has a copy. But then the responsibility when the time comes is up to, if the family see that the condition of their loved one is winding down, they know it's time to let the doctor know. And the doctor will come over and do the inspection. And then the date can be arranged to put the person to sleep. Now, this is a different form of kindness. Think about misery. Some person laying in bed, staring at the roof, they don't know their own name, and they're pooping their pants, and they can't get up and enjoy life anymore. Their mind is winding down, and it's time to go. Now, is there any realistic reason why we should make them suffer for another 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months? I don't think so, because death is inevitable. Now, if the person's having a good quality of life and they're enjoying life and they're able to talk and have a good time visiting with people and friends, fine, they're okay. But when the quality of life has deteriorated to a point where it's not in their interest of dignity, how can you act dignified when you're laying in bed and you're pooping your pants like you did when you were a baby? Not much fun. So I'd like you to think about that and talk it up and give some serious thought to going to a care home or a care hospital and looking at some people that are in that state. And then ask yourself, do I want that? Is that my way I want my end of life? Because now it doesn't have to be like that. And I'm not criticizing people who do it. I'm not criticizing people who don't want to do it. It's just a topic that we really have to have some serious discussion on. And what usually happens, you get the point, you have some religious person, which is fine. It's their own choice to be religious. I'm a Christian, I believe in God, but I also believe in kindness and dignity. Now, when a person gets near death, and there's only a few weeks or a few months left, maybe a year, is it worth torturing the person all that time? We don't have to put them through that. If they do, have to make the choice ahead of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm appealing to you. I have my forms made up, and I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just trying to get some discussion going here so you can talk it up with your family and your friends and see if you want to choose that or not for yourself. And if you don't choose it early enough, if the forms are not made up and signed properly ahead of time, the doctors won't respond to you because they're afraid of being sued and it becomes a legal matter. So I think we're astute to choose that and get it all set up ahead of time, if that's your choice. Now, if you don't want to do it, that's your choice, and I'll respect the fact that you wouldn't do it. But I've chosen to do that, so I'm trying to share that with you. And I'm not saying that what I'm doing is right and you're wrong. Let's have some serious discussion. And medical assistance in death, forms are available through your doctor, or you can download them off the internet on Google. Type in Right to Die with Dignity forms, whatever province you're in. And then get the forms, get them made up, write them up, and let the family know and let the doctor know under what conditions you don't want to be alive anymore. And a serious incurable disease and Alzheimer's, if the person's brain is gone and they can't enjoy life anymore. But I have people who are religious telling me, well, how do you know they're not enjoying life? I said, well, if they lose their ability to communicate with people, you can't carry on a banter about how are you doing today? Hey, Dad, how are you doing today? My Mom, how are you doing today? And they can't talk, and they can't call you by name. That's not much of a life. That's not a decent life end. And I don't think that with a new system now, most people who will give that some thought, take a look at some people who are suffering. Remember how your mom and dad passed too. Do you want to go through that? I don't think so. But if you choose it, you will. I'll respect that. But I think we have to talk it up, and I'm asking you to give some time and give some thought to visiting people who are in a state of disrepair or nearing death, and then visualize yourself. But remember, you have to call it. Now, when you call it, there's no blame involved, because if it's one of your wishes, your family just tell me, I want you to respect my wishes, and by doing that, there's no blame on you, or nobody's going to blame you for pulling the plug, because I'm telling you when to pull the plug. And if you, and we're in a love relationship with your folks and your family, and we should be there to give as much love to we can right until the time they die. Now, if they decide that they want to die earlier because their condition has deteriorated, we should respect those wishes. And the law allows us to do that now. So I'm trying to get some discussion going, and also reinforcing again, visit an old folks home or a care place where there's seniors that have deteriorated really badly, and then ask yourself the question, do I really have to go through that now? Or can I just choose the other way? Now, it's as simple as the last time you've had some surgery. They just put a needle in your arm, no pain involved at all, you have a little prick in an arm, the same thing as you have when you have surgery, and then you go into a forever sleep. So give it some thought, and let's have some discussion. If you've got some comments, good or bad, or some discussion, let's do that too. And this is not a blame game, it's a discussion. And I don't claim to have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. But I think we should think about our future and talk about the end of life. And remember, the end of life is there for a reason, because it takes away all pain and suffering from the person who dies. But also, when that's done, they also leave all those beautiful memories. So it gives us a chance to take a bunch of pictures and make videos and remember all the good things that we've done over the lifetime, and be happy about those. Right to die with dignity, and give it some thought. Have yourself a great time. Bye-bye for now.